Alright, so lately I've been knocking out a lot of Dario Argento's later films that I have not seen or haven't seen in a while. I think that's a lie. I think I have seen every film of his, but I just don't remember them super well. This one I thought I hadn't seen until I was watching it, and then at the end I was like, oh yeah, this is the movie I thought maybe I had seen. And then while I was watching Giallo, I was thinking the same thing, and then while I was watching Do You Like Hitchcock, I was thinking the same thing. So all those reviews are coming very, very soon, probably tomorrow. But right now, let's talk about The Card Player, and this poster is featured in Do You Like Hitchcock, which I'll probably say in that same video. But The Card Player, much like Do You Like Hitchcock, this is a really cool premise. I quite like the premise a lot. Which is funny because in Argento films, I don't typically like the premise. The premise isn't really what I care about in these films because, you know, it's more about the style. So this is kind of the reverse of an Argento film. This is like very plot heavy with a unique, interesting idea with like no style at all. Like none. There's zero style here. If you told me this was any director besides Argento, I'd be like, okay, sure. But when you tell me this is Argento, where is Argento's stamp in this movie? Where is Argento's stamp in Do You Like Hitchcock? Where is Argento's stuff in Giallo? Oh my God, don't even fucking get me started. Holy shit. I'm just gonna warn you guys right up front. I have like 20 minutes left in Giallo. I have nothing to say about the movie. Nothing. Like I was watching, I took notes. Now look at this. This was with 20 minutes left. Adrian Brody's in the movie. Giallo. The title. Academy Award winner. This is after. That's why I wrote that. Because it's after he'd won. And then there's an opera in the opening. An opera in the opening again. He has a lot of opera openings. You know, he's Phantom of the Opera. He has opera. You know, he's big into opera. That's it. In an hour and 10 minutes... This is the notes I had. I was sitting there like, what do I write? I have nothing to say about this movie. Anyways, okay, let's talk about The Card Player. So I don't know what to say about Giallo. I don't know what to do as a review. This is a, oh no, that's not why I wrote that. I thought this said 5.5. I thought this was an IMDb rating. I don't know what the IMDb, I actually think I do know. I think it's like 4.9. I think if I remember correctly, it's 4.9. I don't think that's fair. I think that this is an okay movie. It's a bad Argento movie. I think that's what it really comes down to. It's an okay genre picture. Like, I like the premise. I like this guy who, you know, kidnaps women and threatens the cop that he's going to kill these women unless they play him in a card game of poker. Like they have to play him remotely, and if he wins, then every time he wins a round, he cuts off a piece of them, and if he wins 3 of the 5 rounds, he kills them. I think this is great. I love this premise. I think this is really great. I don't think this is executed very well. It's executed okay, like barely competently. And this is where I don't understand, like, how Argento has fallen so far from grace. But he the fuck has, and I just don't get that. I guess you only have so much to give, and then some people just go way past what they're capable of. And this is very much what is happening in here. So there are a lot of trailers before this movie for Argento films, so he's really selling himself here. But man, this does not feel like him at all. Especially, you know, when I see those trailers, it just reminds me of Argento's style, and then I'm looking for it in this movie. So it's almost like the trailers for the old movies hurt this movie by seeing them right before this movie, because you're reminded of how much style he once had and he doesn't now have. It's really fucking annoying. It's tough. And I like how the cop in the beginning, who's trying to hit on this main chick here, he's like, I know everything about you. She is like barely knows this guy at all, or like not at all. And that's not a good pickup line. It's not a good pickup line to a girl that you never really, like, who has never really met you. I know everything about you. You do this and this. That works in romance movies if the guy's really hot and the girl's also like just smitten by him and that. Then all of a sudden, and I've said this before a million fucking times, and I'll continue to say this, one of the main reasons, not the only differences between a stalker and a romantic is how interested the girl is in them. Now, there are creeps who just do not get the fucking message and go beyond, and they start stalking them legitimately, and they, like, you know, do all sorts of really awful shit. Okay, not those guys. Just the guys who, like, find, you know, see a girl that they think's cute, and then they send her, like, some flowers or whatever. If they think the guy is not attractive or, you know, weird or whatever, they're going to immediately go to their friends and be like, oh my God, look what this creep did to me. But if a hot guy that they were like, ooh, okay, and they barely knew him, if he was to do the exact same thing, they'd go to their friends and be like, oh my God, look how romantic this is. That's the only... So, as a guy, you've just got to risk being a creep if you want to be romantic. Good luck. And... yeah, I already talked about all that. Now, this... okay. This is so stupid. So, number one, the... who is these... the inspector or... the something, the dude in charge of the place. I wrote down his title somewhere in here, but fuck if I remember where it was. We'll say inspector for now. I wrote it down, so I'll find it and correct myself later. Yeah, he's just like, oh no, we're not negotiating with terrorists. We're not gonna play. Don't bother. And they go and they get the girl who found this, and they're like, you play. And she's like, I've never played before. And he's like, oh, whatever, just stall him. Stall him? You don't want to, like, maybe, I don't know, ask around the room of the 30 people in there, like, hey, who in here knows poker? Who in here can play? And somebody might be like, oh, I go to fucking, you know, a casino every once in a while. Okay, you're hired. You have the most knowledge of poker in this room. You're the one that should be playing. They force the girl who knows literally nothing about fucking poker into playing poker for a person's life. This is outrageous. This is such an outrageous fucking scene to me. But they end up not even going through with it. But, you know... regardless, the fact that they were even considering having her play when she's like, I don't know how to play. I don't know how to play. And there's a girl's life on the line. And there's multiple guys in that room that I guarantee know how to play. And do play. And you're going to go with her. Really. And then I love, okay, another thing that's really stupid and silly about this movie is they go and they recruit a professional poker player, this guy who has the hot hand around town, right? They show all of the poker games in this movie, and there are no interesting strategies. There's nothing that any fucking, like, you know, novice beginner to poker would do. He gets, like, you know, 2 of a kind, and he keeps those 2 and he gets rid of the rest. This is like every hand. And I'm like, who couldn't do that? Who couldn't do that? There's only one time in this movie when someone goes for a fucking straight flush over this person's royal flush and the lowest hand wins, whatever. That's the only fucking scene in the entire movie. Like, I feel like they shouldn't even have showed us the cards at some point. Like, I was like, really, if you guys don't have, like, any understanding of poker and, like, what would be actually, like, good, solid playing that would prove that these guys knew what they were doing. It was just so funny to me. It's like, I got 2 jacks. Okay, hold those 2 jacks and then hope for the best. Like, what? That's all poker is? Really? Wow. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. The guy that ends up playing the first game, though, who ends up being the killer, spoilers, he is in a very famous poker movie called Casino Royale. the James Bond movie with Daniel Craig, his first fucking movie, and the best Bond film ever for me. He plays the dude who's going to blow up the airplane that Bond fights on the tarmac. So I thought that was interesting that he was there. But and let's see. Yeah, I like how the main dude is like, no, we're not playing, and then like this girl gets killed right as they calls the bluff. You've got to feel awful. You've got to feel so fucking wrong in that moment. But there you go. When they find the bodies, they find a Joker card shoved up this girl's pussy. So that's interesting. The dead body in the wall looks fucked. Like, really fucked. Like, this is pretty good. The dead bodies in this I actually quite liked. They looked really vicious. Like, they've been attacked viciously, so that's cool. The coroner of this movie is so flamboyant. He's like tap dancing and singing, and he was a character. He's a character. He's definitely memorable. There's this really quick backstory that they give Sir Davos from Game of Thrones here. He's like the main detective who has a very shocking and unexpected death in the movie. I will say that. So good on them for that. I always like those kinds of things. And Carlos, the guy from Casino Royale in this movie, that's what his name in the Casino Royale movie is, Carlos, and in this movie it's Carlo. That's interesting. That's very, very coincidental. I like how she starts studying a fucking poker book. Like she's gonna like take over. Like, seriously, you couldn't get like another cop? Like, once they had time, I don't think that they needed to go find some like random criminal or something to do it for him. I just whatever. But this guy, he comes in and he shows them his poker skills by keeping 2 jacks when he's dealt them. Wow. Impressive. And they find seeds on the body like they do in Silence of the Lambs, except for in Silence of the Lambs, obviously, it's like a little chrysalis that's going to turn into a moth. The Death Head's moth. And the technical term for this killer in this movie is a risk-taking hedonist. So he gets off on risk-taking, which I think is cool. And then we find out at the end that it's actually this guy. And the first one, at least, was pre-recorded. To me, this is outrageous. This doesn't make any sense. The game plays itself. They outright say in the movie, no, the game's legit. Now, whether or not that means it can be a computer program that's playing their hands in the game's legit or what, I don't know. But the guy had to have known, like it has to play, right? It has to play. So it has to be a computer program because of the video. But the video lines up with how the game goes. It doesn't make any sense. They decide not to play. And he kills her right away after that. And the footage is live, like it's happening right then. Not saying it's happening in that moment, but it's showing you that it's happening in relation to the card games. So in the card game, it would have to be on the loss, the third loss, for that to, for her death. Or if they lost once, then he'd cut a piece of her off. But in this, he kills her because they never play. But then we find out later that he, pre-recorded that. That's impossible. It makes no fucking sense. How could he have possibly known they weren't going to play? He's not the guy calling the shots. Now, if it was the fucking, the main dude, the guy running the place, and he was the one that was like, no, we're not playing, that would make sense. He's like, nope, don't play. But no, that is not what happens. And the program's writing to them. And it does before. Does it in that moment? Maybe not on that. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But regardless, it's pathetic. And Yeah. Already saw that. They say outright he's not cheating. That makes, yeah, bullshit. And yeah, they finally go and recruit a pro. And they offer him 2,500 euros for each win that he gets, which I wonder if he ever got that money. I don't know. He doesn't last very long, so he couldn't really spend it. And he also gets his record expunged for whatever the hell he did, but we never find out. And you know what I think would have been interesting? Spoilers for the book Ender's Game, or the movie Ender's Game, if you haven't seen or read it. But I think it would have been interesting had they handled this like Ender's Game, where they brought Ender Wiggin in and they made him think he was playing a game the entire time, and in reality he was actually fighting a war as a commander, because they like knew he was this prodigy and that they were like gonna give him control of their armies, and he was like, you know, killing soldiers and this and that right and left just to win the game. But then, as I said, he finds out that he's actually... So I think it would have been interesting if they went the Ender's Game route, where they brought this kid in and he had no idea that he was playing for someone's life. Like, teach us how to play, or like, play for us, you know, see if this system is rigged or something. Tell him something. That would have been interesting. But at the same time, I like the idea that he has to sit through the pressure of possibly getting someone killed if he's not lucky. And he does point out that a lot of the game is luck. And that is definitely true to an extent. I'm no fucking card expert, though. So for any card experts out there, you know, you're probably rolling your eyes. Maybe you think you've got the real system, and you count cards and you know what's going to come next. And to detect tap the footage. What the fuck? Trying to detect it. Yeah. I don't know. Something about bad detective work, which is no fucking surprise to me, but I can't figure out why I put tap the footage. Huh? I don't remember why I wrote that. Yeah, we find out that the main girl in this, her dad killed himself because of poker. So there's a little bit of a driving force there. The sex scene in this movie is very uninteresting. And then we find out at the end of the movie that this chick's pregnant, and she's like happy about it. It's such a random, weird, unnecessary ending. I don't get the point of it at all. We don't really get to know their relationship. We don't really... It's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. And... Oh, man, the commissioner, there it is. Commissioner Gordon. Gordon, do it. Do it, Gordon. So, they have the commissioner's daughter, and wow, if you didn't feel pressure before, you're sure as fuck feeling pressure now. But he wins all of those games, so she's not hurt and returned home safely. So he's a man of his word, which is cool. And then, like, the commissioner had to watch his daughter like that. Well, I mean, interesting. Once it's your daughter, you want everyone to play. But when it's somebody else's daughter, you're like, no, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Fuck you, commissioner. Fuck you. You let that girl die with your inaction. Although maybe he didn't. Actually, he didn't, because it was pre-recorded, right? So technically, but he, to his knowledge, he didn't do fuck all to stop it. So he's at fault for me. Okay, so the scene where this pro poker player goes and there's this chick in a bar and he like chases her. I've seen this in a decent amount of movies where like a girl runs away from a location where a guy meets her and he's like, wait, where are you going? Wait, come back. And like he runs after her and he follows her all around the city and she like keeps ducking around corners laughing. I've actually seen this in a few movies at this point. And every time the guy's always like, wait, hold on, where are you going? Come here. Oh my God, where are you going? And in this movie, he even takes it another step further where he's like, fucking bitch, like when she can't find her and stuff. Like, what does this girl owe you? Why the fuck are you chasing her? If a girl runs from you, don't chase. This is fucking weird. This is fucking weird. This is a movie thing. No guy does this that's like trying to be romantic or something. Who the fuck chases after a girl? Like literal chasing after a girl. It happens too much in movies. I don't understand. It always happens in like lower budgeted silly movies, to be honest. But regardless, like who the fuck like sees a girl, she gives him a look, and then she runs off, and the guy physically chases after her for like blocks and is like, wait, where are you going? Hold up, where are you going? You're fucking pathetic if you do this. You're fucking pathetic. Absurd. Such an absurd thing that happens in movies. And I like how the girl then tells him that she gives him the letter, and she's like, here, he told me to give you this. And she didn't read it. It wasn't sealed or anything. Bullshit. Bullshit, she didn't read that. And it straight up says, like, you're going to die, basically. Like, choose the door, choose your fate, you're dead, whatever. So 100% she read it. But she's like, and then she gets her ass shot. And then he just goes through one of the doors, and then he comes outside, and he just gets like a rope around the neck and pulled into the water and then hooked through the neck. Like, what? What does that have to do with the doors? Like, nothing in through that door and the hallways and everything that he went through when he chose the door had anything to do with his demise. This is so dumb to me. Like, there should have been something inside the building. And how he was over, like, shooting across the way there, and then all of a sudden got to where he was in the boat on the other side and all. Whatever. He's the fastest man alive. Why not? And then the trap kills John. As I said, that's a big surprise. And then we find out that at the end, this guy is the killer all along, and he pulls her and he handcuffs her to the tracks, and he puts the key to the cuffs under the computer that's sitting right in front of them, and she sits there and she plays him in a game. And I just, this whole ending is so fucking lazy. It's so ill-conceived. I guess this guy is in a desperation move, and he gets caught too early, and he didn't have this properly planned out, and maybe that shows. But to me, this was dreadful. This was so fucking stupid. Like, they could have made this much more engaging, where he literally makes her play him in a game for their life. I like the concept, but the execution of it is awful. And then he has a spare, and he's on the tracks, and he's like trying to put it in, and it breaks off, and he's like, "Go fucking bitch!" And then the train hits him. Terrible. Just terrible. It's a terrible ending. It just doesn't work the way that it's done at all. The whole film is completely without any style. This is not Argento in the slightest. But the premise is okay. The movie is okay. It's fine. It's an okay film. But as an Argento film, boo. Boo. I said everything? I don't know. Track scene is so stupid. The poker playing in the movie is so basic. I already said all that stuff. You're pregnant. And yeah, I mean, I guess Sir Davos was playing the ultimate game of chance, pulling out. And this time he lost. Although I guess if you died and you left a legacy behind and you didn't have to do anything, yeah, I guess you did win. So he played the ultimate game of chance with pull out, and he hit the jackpot, the baby jackpot. So there you go. Dario Argento's The Card Player with zero stamp of style from Argento. Oh well. Adios.